Hey everybody, final thoughts time for Planet B. And let's talk about this because, as far as the theme goes at least, this game is a 10 out of 10 for me. I absolutely love the setting and how this game has interpreted it and integrated it into the gameplay. So I want to talk about that and also just how the game plays as well. So in this game, you are playing as a governor of, a region of Planet B, the second planet, because we've ruined Earth and we need somewhere else to live. And the game is very clear that you're not a good guy. You can be fine or you can be bad, but you're not good, not really. So I absolutely love that about this because it is taking it to a ridiculous degree. It is very clearly a satire of this kind of stuff, and I think it does a very good job of presenting it in such a way that you don't really feel bad for doing the evil things that you're doing. Because it's telling you, it's in on the joke of it. So I really, really like that. And I'm going to give some examples as we go along because there's just so many ways that it connects to the gameplay as well as providing some fun stuff. Yes, there are plenty of just tongue-in-cheek jokes on the cards, and that's fun. I do think he does a pretty good job of it. It's not so overt that it's kind of groan-worthy or anything like that. It's not cringy in that way. I think it's pretty cool. I think it does it pretty well. I think it's kind of understated in most circumstances to the point where I think it is one of those rare games that's actually funny. That's hard to do, and this game does it surprisingly well. But let's talk about the game itself. One of the most interesting things that jumps out to me is this action selection system. There are three corporations on the board that start off. The three that start off the game are always there, but they're randomly placed, and they're either on their good side or their evil side, depending on where they are on the board. So the middle one's evil, the outer ones are good. But the more you work with them, eventually they'll change. And after they change, they'll have slightly different abilities. They might be stronger, but they also make your people less happy with you. And so that, comes into play. But then once you go through them again, instead of flipping back to the good side or to the evil side, they go away, and then a new set of tiles comes in. And these are also, randomly ordered, and so they have all kinds of different stuff on them. Which means that of the many different actions that you're able to do, you will only ever do a small set of them each time you take a turn. And it's not usually going to be all the things you want to do, but it's things that you get to do with the corporation that you chose to work with. Again, there are three options, so hopefully something is what you want, but there's also things to think about as far as positioning goes, because you might think, okay, I want to do this one, it's pretty good for me, but if I do it, then there's only one space left. The next player who goes, they will get to do it, and there's a bonus for sort of finishing one of these corp cards. So it's a lot to think about, but I should say, it has a lot of effect, but it doesn't feel like a complicated decision. It's more just, I have to think a few things through, and it is an interesting choice. So I really like that, way that it sort of boils down. These are the three things you can do, and then once you choose them, you can go in any order that you want, and there's still choices to make, but it sort of locks you into, I'm doing these types of things. And I think that works really well. I also like that going through them kind of triggers how, or it informs how quickly the game is going to go. You go through, 3 or 4 times if you're playing a 4-player game, a corporation, and then it flips over, and that does a few things, but one of the things it does is advances the vote. There are 5 spaces along this voting track. When you flip a corporation, it moves forward 2 spaces. There are things in the game that can move it forward or back, a space or 2. Those are kind of rare. I think they only come up in the news articles, but it can happen that it goes through pretty quickly, and sometimes that's to your benefit, and sometimes it's not. If you are really pushing on getting a lot of votes, maybe because you are making your populace really happy, or you are just you've built buildings that give you a lot of votes, or something like that, then maybe you want to trigger the vote before the other players can catch up. That's great. Or maybe you want to avoid the votes. To vote from triggering. So, you go to the other locations so that doesn't trigger right away. And then when you do get to the vote, this is one of my favorite things about this game. I love both mechanically how it works and thematically how it works. It is such an excellent way to combine the two. I absolutely love it because you've got this bag full of votes. You've been putting votes into it this entire game, so you've probably got a good collection. Maybe you've been putting a lot of work into it, maybe you haven't. But once the vote triggers, everyone is going to pull out just 3 of these vote tiles. Hey folks, just popping in to say that what I just said is wrong. You don't pull out 3 votes. Each player pulls out 3 votes at a time, and you keep going around in a circle until the bag runs out. I just wanted to make sure that that was clear because I'm going to talk about this system, and here's the thing, even knowing that, I don't feel any differently. I still really love this voting system, and it is still very tense, even with that change, but just wanted to make sure y'all had the right idea. All right, back to it. Now, maybe you're going to pull out more if you've done a little bit of bribery. So you might have added some things to your board which allow you to pull another vote tile on your turn, or just gets you a free vote of yours that you just add to your pile before pulling votes, stuff like that. But regardless, you're only going to be pulling a few votes. But because you're a governor in charge of your province, you count the votes, which means you don't count your opponent's votes. You only count your own. And that is such a wonderful bit of like world building in this. But it also means that there's this really great moment of tension where you might pull, you only get 1 of your votes and you get 2 of the others. And everyone's unhappy with that because you're unhappy because you didn't get that many votes. Other people are unhappy because it's like, okay, but then how many votes do I still have left in the bag? Oh no. And then, so you've only pulled 1 of your votes, and you're like, oh, I'm screwed. And the next person goes, they don't pull any of their own votes. And maybe they pull out all of yours, and you're like, okay, that's interesting. I'm still in this. I'm at least going to be vice president in this case. If I get really lucky, I'm going to be president. It gives you a boatload of points. And the next person goes, they pull all 3 of their own or something like that. It can go a lot of different ways, but it is a wonderful system. It is very tense. It really has everyone engaged. And it's just a great moment when you're pulling this out and you pull 3 votes and you can either go, ha, these are all of them, or you go 1 at a time, just really ramps up the tension. Like, yes, no, is this going to be good? Yes. And then it's just such a satisfying feeling when it works. And it's such a crushing feeling when it doesn't, but everyone's involved in it. And I think that system, again, so perfectly connected with the theme and works so well with the gameplay that it's such a great choice. And I love that about this. I think that, again, it's my favorite part of the system. Now, and again, if in case it's not clear, I like this game. I think this game is good. There are a few things that I do feel like are not, they wrinkle me a little bit, which is if you're playing with people who, take a long time with their turns, it can be a while before your turn gets back to you, especially if you're playing at 4 players and 2 or 3 of them have AP. Yeah, there's some room for that. You've got the 3 choices you can make about which corp you're going to work with, and then once you take that, it's like, okay, I need to build a building. Okay, which card am I going to build? Okay, maybe I'll build this one. Okay, and then you've got some worky actions. You can place your workies on those buildings. It's like, all right, I've got 3, and I can place 3, or I can get some more, and I can bank for later, or I can partially fill this. And so there does end up being a lot of choices that you can make, especially as the game goes on into later rounds. And so it can go on a little long. 4-player game with people with AP, the game itself can go on, in my opinion, a little bit longer than it feels like it should. But if you're able to play quickly, if you're able to make snap decisions, and I personally really like making more snap decisions in this game because it feels like the kind of game you don't want to take too seriously. You absolutely can, and it is satisfying if you do, but I like to shoot from the hip sometimes, so I love that about this. Or if you can at least just make decently quick decisions, then that's not going to be a problem for you. If people with AP come at this, it can be a bit much, but for me, that hasn't been a problem. I just want people to be aware of it. The other minor thing is, okay, the system that they do with the money is fun. It's funny. You have your billies, excellent name, 10 out of 10 name. Their money or their points, and if you want to, you can just leave this in your face down pile. That's all well and good. And what the game recommends you do is to literally put it in your pocket. Cool. I like that. That's funny. It didn't. I kind of wish it wasn't paper money. I know it's kind of an old gripe at this point, but like, and chits aren't exactly better. Yeah, you put them in your pocket, they might get lost or something like that. But I don't know. I feel like if you've got a good set of poker chips, do that and do the pocket thing because that's funny. And then when you've got a lot of points, you've got a pocket full of chips, and that I don't know. That feels kind of cool. I would replace them personally. I kind of wish it didn't have paper bills to begin with. I mean, it is a cost saving measure, so I get it. But this game is already kind of expensive. I think it's like $80 or maybe 90. I don't remember exactly. I think it's 80. It does have a lot of wooden components and the rest of the components are really, really nice. I love all of the other components of this. This bag's a little too big. That's fine. So I kind of wish that one part of it wasn't, but like I said, if you've got some good poker chips or coins, however you want to do it, go for that. Coins especially, I think, if you have a good set of metal coins, that would be hilarious to do this. You got a pocket full of change. It's gonna like clink around whether you want to or not. That's funny. So yeah, again, theme integration. They do a great, great job of this. And along the while, you're doing some silly news stories about thought control or banning social media or having grand opening with a picture of this is the Mars attacks alien. It's a lot of tongue-in-cheek stuff. It's a lot of fun. And so ultimately, I really enjoy this game. And I think if you're looking for, a good like mid-weight economy game where you can be just cartoonishly evil, then absolutely check out Planet B. Anyway, that's going to be all from me. Thank you all so much for watching. Love having you here. I will see you folks next time. Bye-bye.